Hello and welcome. This is Diana, and you are watching Holistic Vibes. This is going to be a generalized reading. So, as always, take what resonates, leave the rest. It kind of today feels a little bit like there's like this progression or this understanding of um, it's like seeing through an illusion or a cast of like impediment. It's almost stepping into divine purpose or like releasing a fake mask or a facade is what they're saying. And maybe that's something that like kind of you've been coming to a realization of, or an honoring of the journey, or like whatever's been um yeah, it's like kind of like a whatever's been floating in your mind. It's like that. What does heaven on earth look like to you? Like, how do you find joy in your reality, or how are you kind of like realigning or rearranging what your reality is for you? And I instantly feel like I'm kind of underwater, um, which is interesting, right? So there's some kind of an arrangement through like a clarity of what one believes is the rules versus like the person who creates the rules. I don't know. They're just showing me a really big distinction between the line and the chasm of the understanding your role in reality, or understanding your energy frequency, or like somebody got the assignment finally is what they're saying. um, you could be a star seed. You could like relate to the 144. You could like with indigo, crystalline energy. You could very well be like an ascended master, like a life path 11, 22, 33. Um, but there's some kind of an aha moment, like somebody's kind of reflecting, like recataloging past lives, understanding where there was like a machismo. Alpha males has been coming up like a lot. I don't know, like an alpha male, an understanding of a karmic wheel. It's kind of like masculine that has been dormant. It's kind of like the inner Viking, the inner like it's funny. It's just like an inner collective activation where like true divine masculines are standing up for what they believe in, and like it's kind of like an activation and an end to a pushed, they're saying pushed agenda of like an end goal, right? It's like there's something is speeding up in regards to true actual evolution, right? The canary bird has sung. That energy of it's like this clear shift in collective consciousness. It's like no more. It's kind of interesting. So what they're showing me is, and maybe you guys are going to relate to this, there's something in regards to a history of like an energetic frequency or in a remembrance of a timeline. I don't know. But it's kind of like there is a reckoning through the collective consciousness. It's the things that they didn't show the generalized public. I got to take a sip. So whatever was pushed to the generalized public as this is this perspective, end times, energy, whatever, right? There's a secondary portion that's like a forced agenda, is what they're showing me. There's a secondary agenda where it's the truth that lies in between that people don't see unless they know what they're looking for, right? And then there's a third perspective where those that are cognitively tapped into the same field and ecosystem are going to understand like exactly where the energy is going. And I'm talking to those people, right? It's like essentially like your perfect timeline is currently activating right now. Whatever karmic lessons that you guys have been trying to learn or have learned, if you have been on an endless journey over the last 9 years, like kind of re-looking and recalibrating of like the things that you had to blow up in your life, like the where you were not currently living a heaven on earth, right? It's the death, it's the rebirth, it's the beginning new, right? As you're stepping into the frequency of the true new year, because once you understand that the plants are on a synchronistic cycle with the planet, and you're living in alignment with said energies, like, and you're tapping into like your creativity through like the dormancy is what they're showing me, is like as you learn to balance your left and your right hemisphere, you essentially are reactivating your third eye and your awareness to see, right? And when that happens, you want to make sure that you pull your third eye from the top, because for whatever reason it's always pointed at the ceiling. You want to pull it forward so that you're actually pulling it towards your forehead and straight, right? And so it's like it's really like kind of understanding like the what you've been experiencing, what you've had to blow up, what you've lost like up until this point is kind of allowing you to truly finalize. They're showing me a finality of like how you're a conscious creator, like how you truly are the maverick. Like once you tap in to the frequency of the all that is, right? And you are balancing from your left and your right, and then you're pulling into your right hemisphere and activating that creativity, that gate of access point, right? Like me and a friend were talking about like when you do mind altering drugs and you've experienced like that doorway, all it does is it shows you exactly what kind of energy you have to tap in to like repeat the pattern recognition, minus the drugs, minus the altering stuff, right? It's like you literally are then activating an internal pathway that you've already had in your frequency. Does that make sense? So somebody, you need to start playing with that in regards to the how you're creating, how you're unfolding. It's the arrangements that you're pushing into your future, right? Because what you're currently, that's so funny. How did that was, they just said like pick it up and it was upside down. And it's literally like you honoring like where it is that you're going to be inspired as you're proceeding forward. Like dream it into existence. It may not look like what looks like a perfect world right now, right? Like as your gifts come online, some of you are going to be playing with teleportation, bilocation, levitation, right? They're natural uh I wouldn't even call those gifts. They're literally like you fully connecting in with the earth. And when you do that, it's like once one person does it and actually breaks down the cycles, it allows other people who are like-minded or understand how to transmute energy to do the same, right? It's just as, you come in with your clarity of your intuition and inner knowing, like once you understand that, like you then create an even pathway for others to learn. And honestly, like that's part of my mission and my purpose. So maybe that's where we align. Because the truth is it's like, it's important information for people to start controlling their own sovereignty and understanding like how to work with their own energy and how powerful their energy is, right? And it's you breaking free from it's kind of interesting because what they're showing me is two people who want to be together but also want to be separate. And it's the understanding, like they're saying symbiosis of like the no boundaries, because once you're divinely connected, the telepathic connection is fully in sync. There's no separation in that. There's an energy exchange. And whoever this is for, you already know that. Like you've already had glimpses of it, or you've already been manifesting financial abundance due to the connection. I don't know. You have to take it the way it is. Um, but somebody already knows the answers to the questions. And they just said she likes emeralds, diamonds, and rubies. I don't know. Um, Very interesting. So are we going to use these or are we going to use those? Okay. Yeah, there's somebody who is on their way that has mastered their energy frequency or mastered the self. Um, yeah, there's some kind of inner wisdom or inner knowledge. Um, it's not luck, it's alignment, right? Like, and you can feel the energetic frequency. And what I'm kind of gathering is it's taking you a long time to get to here. You've had like this uphill journey of, kind of compensating, over complicating like your journey. It's almost like the suffering was you had it all along. Like you had your own cup. You had like the offer. You just had to see that you had the offer. It's like you had to understand that you were truly divine or truly connected. Um, no longer being in a state of sorrow because you were the one who was pulling out your own cup. It's kind of like the guy who is in the middle of a storm and says, God, save me, save me. And he sends a paramedic guy in a boat that says, hey, do you need a lift? We can help you out. And he goes, no, it's okay. I'm waiting on something else. God, save me, save me. And then something else comes by and he's like, no. And then he eventually, like, the house becomes engulfed in water, right? And then it's like, well, why didn't you save me? And it's like, I try to tell you it was burning the whole time. You just weren't paying attention, right? And so it's kind of like you're going to start realizing like who your soul family is and who they're not, and who is an attraction of where you've been and where you're going. And it's like there's going to be like this clear understanding or recognition. And you could quite possibly think that like you were holding the cup alone, but really somebody was holding it for you, like kind of honoring your own journey up to this point without you even realizing it or seeing it, right? Um, yeah, it's like, it's very wild because it's kind of like there is this they're not saying it's an insurgence, but it's like people are tired of the bullshit and the manipulation and the lies, and they're really wanting someone to say, you know what, in today's day and age, it's unacceptable. And it's a shift in your kundalini. It's a shift in your inner guidance. It's kind of like a destruction of the old paradigm. It has to be so completely ridiculous that people can't help but say this is absolutely ridiculous. And it's like this storm is like brewing because there's an understanding and a reflection. There's no longer a tolerance. Yeah, there's an energy signature of like the truth is the truth and everything else is a lie. And it's like through that third eye awakening, there is like going to be a massive shift through the collective consciousness, through the financial, like through the animals, through the soul sinking, through the joy, like through the activation of your own Merkaba. Like you could quite possibly find yourself like talking to animals, right? Um, and initially it's probably like very mind-boggling, but then you start realizing, whoa, you're saying exactly what like is going on. And it's the honoring through the journey of, I'm not losing my shit. Like, this is totally normal. It's just something that we lost at one point in time through the evolution of our society, right? And you just happen to be coming back online. And it's the piece through the recognition of like, crap, I'm hearing people's thoughts, or damn, I'm in their dream, or mm, I mean, I'll never forget having a conversation with my ex and sitting on the sofa and literally like not saying anything but saying everything. It was like the wildest recap of like, damn, did that just happen? Because it happened like often. And it's that power of the inner knowing, inner psychic, right? Heightened senses, right? It's like, come on, they're just heightened senses. You get more hits per energy frequency, so you see something clearly, like it's obvious to you, right? There's no disillusion, no disarray. It's just, it is what it is. You don't know why you get it, but you get it. It's just a gift. And it's really, there's something in regards to like a display or a stage or a point of reference of like focus. Maybe you could very well be short fused currently, and that's not your energy. So it's diverting and understanding what's attached to that energy and becoming a sovereign being and clearing your space, right? There's swift action by bringing it into the light and seeing and saying, like, I'm not living in this sorrow. I'm not living in this disarray. Just because the house is burning doesn't mean that my life isn't restarting. It's getting to the point of where there is this catalyst of change, of rebirth, of cognitive awareness. And so it's like, how are you contributing your gifts to the greater part of society? How are you helping people? And it's funny because they brought this up this morning and they're doing it again, is how are you helping another person jump on a higher timeline? And it may seem like it's a blip. It may seem like somebody comes and goes. It may seem like there is a overgiving of kindness and overgiving of like your generosity that's not being reciprocated, right? And so like, it's like, look at each one as an activation of a cosmic consciousness that is going to out and affect another 2,000 or another 5,000 or another 120,000, right? It's like, depending on where you start planting those seeds is going to be like how you're creating the spark of awareness, the spark of insight. It can be one word. It can be just a sentence or a phrase, right? But it's like, by you spitting truth, by you planting the seed of awakening, not only are you reshifting and activating your Merkaba to a higher timeline, to an activated power of constellation connection, right? It's you talking to the stars because you're communicating to your like family. And there's some kind of a magnification that is happening through the supporting of shifting your frequency outward and planting the seed of enlightenment. There's some kind of an honoring and elevation that is currently taking place, right? Like, you're shifting into a new timeline. And it could very well be directly because of the energy signature. It could be, that's again, your DNA, your date of incarnation, like in your cycle where you're at. These things all play factors, right? The lessons you decided to take on that you're cognitively aware of, right? Not to mention the things that you take on from other ancestors. Like, we don't even realize the duration of the things that we've experienced in this life were passed on through a lineages of women or men that have experienced said same thing, right? And so it's like, understanding what threads are holding all of it together, and then honoring it and releasing it and allowing a new seed to be planted. It's kind of like cutting away the excess, bringing it back down to ground base and kind of shifting your skill or your awareness or your mm, it's like the vision of the what? It's like your identification of the past, the present, and the future. And there's a reflective state of being. It's kind of like not seeing what was in front of you when it was in front of you, right? And there's a sudden and unexpected shift in awareness. Mm, there's a rising tide, is what they just said. What was that? Yeah, there's something with the end of the snake that's going to, it's kind of what they're saying is it's a compilation. It's a compilation of different variations of things that are going to kind of reawaken the world through like the knowledge, through the sight, through it being blatant obvious, right? Like people are going to be at a point where they are, fed up and they're tired. They don't want to be defensive or combative or like it's calling a spade a spade. It's just like you can't bullshit anymore, right? Like it's wild because they're just showing like a thread of connection of like the C family, right? The one that was in the presidency. But they're showing like how many people have to die before there's an actual connection. It's like obvious at this point exactly what's taken place up to here. And it's like you'd have to be blind to not see a connection, right? And so it's like how many people have to be in the pocket before the people become aware and are tired? Because right now they're already tired with a forced agenda and paid protesters. So now if they flip, the pendulum goes completely to the opposite side to where they're just calling out anything that's different, right? Then creates a narrow-minded focus. And it's like we're all in the world but we're not of the world. And so it's like there's like the shift of no longer being in defense, but allowing the destruction to take place, but releasing your energy of entanglement. It's kind of like you have to let what is unfolding unfold, but you also have to make actions or points of focus to truly step into like your divine role. It's the are you living right now the way that you want your world to reflect, right? What things do you need to add in and what things do you need to take away, right? Is your family the way you want it to be? Is your relationship the way you want it to be? Does your work feel like it's fulfilling you? Are you of impact? Are you truly helping the collective consciousness? Like you get to pick like how you show up today. And even if it's your perfect day looks totally different than another person's perfect day, doesn't mean it is any less than, right? It's your day. You get to do however you want. And so I'm just getting like there's this dissolving of what the perfect life looks like. And the and again they're saying data exchange, like what monster are you feeding, what wolf are you feeding? And it's that and they said omnipresence within you. It's the higher portion of your higher purpose, your higher power, your Holy Spirit, your higher self, right? Like it's that connection to you that connects you directly um to your highest and best timeline, and no longer are you fighting against it. You're aligning exactly with it. You're reflecting and saying, okay, well, how do I want to show up today? And how do I want to ignite my passion for living, for life, for relationships? What is it that's going to be the endings in this chapter, and how am I going to proceed forward? And actively choosing like the timeline you want to live in as if, right? And it's like no longer allowing yourself to persist over the negative paradigms that no longer served you, and seeing it with clarity of like, these are all the great things that are happening. And even if something takes a turn, it's still going to be great because of XYZ, right? And it's honoring of that journey. And so, yeah, I'm going to leave that there. I feel like I've been rambling for 20 minutes. So, if you would like a reading or a healing, all of the information is below. I do have them available, and I'm about a week and a half out. Yeah, until next time, be well and ciao.